Hey everyone, it's McGuire. Brandon. It is 11:56 p.m. on a Saturday, and I actually couldn't be more excited to share with you three really big things that I get to do in this video. The first is all about, if you're wondering why I'm reacting that way, it's because every time I do this, macOS inserts, yep, you can see it happening right now. And frankly, I don't know how to turn it off. So creating a company where I teach software and AI, and I haven't turned off the thing that automatically creates a rave when I make hand gestures of certain types. But that's okay, because I get to talk about my company name. I get to talk to you all about my company name. The second is my three major objectives. These are my three professional objectives for 2024. And third, and maybe most excitingly, is I get to talk about what happens when we miss an objective or we miss a goal or a milestone, because that's very timely right now. For me, I've actually missed a major goal I set for myself this week, and I want to talk to you about that. But the other reason that's timely is it's January, and everyone is setting New Year's resolutions or lofty personal goals or lofty professional goals, and those are all noble things. Those are beautiful things. But what usually ends up happening is we set like a resolution and we're so good for a few days or a few weeks or maybe even a few months. And at some point, we often fall off the wagon. And one of the things that's so easy to do is get into a mindset of, well, there's always 2025. And it's like we fall off the wagon and we might as well have gotten fully derailed, which is both a wagon and a train metaphor built into one. So you know it's good. But I think the thing I want to engage with you on is this idea that you don't have to get derailed. This is something my executive coach has been introducing into our goal setting for 2024, which is this idea of normalizing relapses and how that can lead to profoundly higher productivity because you're not letting a small thing or a bump in the road completely derail you. So we'll talk about all three of these things. I actually want to start with the second one. And the second one is huge because it's my three company goals that I'm starting from. So these are the three big rocks for 2024. This is my first draft. And I want to share this with you today, which is the first one, build momentum. So these weekly goals, and I do this with my coach, I set three major deliverables I have for the week. And I'll use an example in a moment. But over the course of a year, I want to maintain an 80% completion rate. So over 2024, let's say I have 200 different weekly goals that end up getting across those 52 weeks. I have 200 goals. Well, that means in 2024, I have to have hit 160 of those to maintain that 80% net completion rate. That's my first goal. Now, before I move on to the second one, I want to say, you might look at that and say, wow, that's a lot of discrete goals. That's not a big rock. I'd respond by saying, to me, those discrete goals in aggregate are all about the big rock that's important to me professionally, which is for me to build momentum around my startup, my business. So that's the big rock in the context of that momentum. The second one, I want to share what I learned. I really do. And of course, I'm posting a video every Wednesday and Saturday. It's 11:59 right now, so this one's going out a little bit later. And it's not just about sharing what I've learned with you, and it's not just about the accountability that creates for me. It's perhaps even more unexpectedly than I expected. It's hearing back from you. It's not just the positivity, the engagement, the reinforcement, which is wonderful, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But it's the ideas, it's the thoughts, it's the feedback, it's the actual interaction, it's the community around the whole thing. And to everyone who's reached out or taken the time, I just want to say thank you for that. And then, of course, number three, launch the thing. It's a startup. Got to get out there. So for me, my third big goal, the big rock for 2024, is launching, getting the first paid courses out there, which of course teach AI and software to a certain number of people. I've left those variables for right now. They'll get more concrete down the road, but that's my major goal, which is to get the thing out there. Those are my three goals. Those are the three big rocks for 2024. So I want to give an example before I move into that third part, which is about what happens when we miss a goal. I'm actually going to show you my weekly goals for this week. So I've been doing this for a while. We'll do, usually three goals for the week. What are the big three deliverables? And these are the three that I had for this week. It's build a home workspace, which of course is a critical component of the McGuire hierarchy of needs, which you could see to the top and to the left of Chipotle. And that's my home workspace. To me, that's pretty critical for being able to. I'm actually sitting today on a stool I put together from Amazon. But home workspace gives me that, and I'll share my screen with this. But you can see a home workspace. It's pretty Spartan, but it's a single desk for me. 3 monitors. I work best with that. But that workspace is the place from which I'm going to be doing all this other stuff. So I wanted to take care of that objective. The second one is to deliver the first completed draft of the 2024 Big Rocks, which I've just done right now. And then third is to send Nancy. Nancy's my coach. Thoughts on rationalizing versus reasoning. I'm going to get into that because that's the key to that third part. What happens when we miss a goal? These are very different approaches, and I've been trying to learn a lot about this, and it's actually quite meaningful to me and maybe to some of you. So what I'd like to invite you to do now is to join me on a journey that is my Friday afternoon. It's not going to cut away to that. I didn't record this, but I was having a conversation with a couple people talking about how I planned on spending my Saturday going to B&H. And if you don't know B&H, it's the coolest thing. It's like if you're into audio and video gear and stuff like that, it's probably the coolest place on earth. And one of the people in the group said, hey, B&H they close early on Friday and they're not open on Saturday. And just like that, there was no way I could meet that goal. The thing that I needed, I couldn't meet that goal. So the 2 ways I want to look at this are the rationalizing way and then the reasoning way, because there's some unique characteristics to both of them. And so when I'm talking about rationalizing, I'm talking about justifying something or explaining it away, especially explaining away something negative. And it can be convenient to do. So in this case, I could say, well, I didn't hit my objective because B&H was closed. And that's convenient. It's also, for me, it would be a defense mechanism. I would avoid confronting the real issue there. And in the context of rationalizing, I'm saying B&H closing is the reason. But really, B&H closing deflects from the core issue. And the core issue with me is I did not appropriately plan and prioritize. That's it. So with reasoning, it's so much more analytical and objective. So you look at the situation, you look at the cause and the effect. So the goal when I'm talking about reasoning here is for me to learn how to improve. So some context here, I exhibit reasoning when I look at the why for why this happened. So why? Well, it's because I didn't plan ahead. I didn't consider the hours of B&H. So it gives me a clear and objective assessment of events and decisions. And it puts an emphasis on learning. So rationalizing is explaining why something didn't work. B&H was closed. I couldn't get what I needed. But reasoning lets me look at those past experiences and say, I didn't plan ahead. I didn't prioritize appropriately. And it helps me learn so that I can plan better. I can anticipate better. I can be aware of obstacles going forward. And also it helps me at regular stages to monitor that progress. I want to review my goals, ask questions, listen to other people and get that input and adjust as necessary. So that's my week. Those are the 3 goals for my week. And I wanted to talk about that goal that I missed. I'm certainly going to be picking that back up, and I can't wait to get over to B&H. But I would invite you to do the same. If you've set lofty goals, if you've set wild expectations, that's good. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. But if you fall short on your path to that thing that you want to get, especially long-term goals, I would invite you to look at it not necessarily in a way that rationalizes and reinforces some of those behaviors. Again, there's going to be times where stuff is totally out of our control. This was something that was within my control. There are so many circumstances, though, where things are out of our control, and that's okay. But look at the situation from a reasoning perspective, which is what were the events and decisions that led to this thing? Keep it objective and ask yourself the question, how can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? And then just get back on the horse and work towards that longer term objective. So that's my story. So that leads me back to the company name. I am pretty excited about this. There are 40 names on the short list, and 5 of them are actually pretty good, and 2 of them I'm in love with. I'm not going to share those 2 names for a very specific reason. Both of them have high 5-figure domain name costs, and there's negotiations with one of them right now. And if I put that on here and it gets out, then suddenly they have a ton of leverage. So I'm not going to share that right now. But what I will say is I have chosen a name for now. I need a domain for Google Workspace or G Suite or whatever it's called now, and a number of other things. I need to be able to file. I need to be able to do a bunch of stuff. So the name that I've chosen is pretty literal and something that I'm pretty excited about. And that's because my new business name, for now, is the Top Secret Education Company. It's like a normal education company, but top secret. And this is going to be the name I'm going to use in the short term to medium term. Once I've gotten all the trademark with my intellectual property attorney and all the specific details of what I'm hoping ends up being the longer term name, I will share that with you all. But between now and then, this is going to be called the Top Secret Education Company. I want to end. This is really the end of the first week of 2024 on maybe a little bit of a different note, which is a note of really profound gratitude. I did not expect when I created a silly YouTube channel and started uploading videos from a MacBook Air camera that anyone would care. I was really excited I could share it with my close friends and family, and I thought posting it on Twitter and LinkedIn would at least answer the question that I keep getting, which is like, what am I doing next? And it would provide me with some type of accountability. Never in a million years did I expect the response that this has gotten, specifically the kindness from so many of you who've taken time out of your day to write me, sometimes publicly, a lot of times privately. And it's been an extremely humbling, moving, honestly emotional experience to read a lot of these things. The stories of just the stuff that you've been sharing has meant more to me than I think many of you might imagine. So I just wanted to end this first week on a note of gratitude and to say thank you. I really don't have a clever way to end this video, so let's just end it there with thanks to everyone who's reached out with kindness and support. So with that in mind, I hope if you're setting goals for 2024 and you're setting lofty goals and you fall off the horse or fall off the wagon, the metaphors are all over the place now, that you don't let that completely derail you, and that you can chase that long-term objective and get there even if there are bumps in the road. There's like 4 metaphors going on right now. Anyway, with that in mind, thanks to everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Great start to your 2024, and I'll see you all out there. Take care.